I forgot that I put the camera the wrong way, but you know what? We will make this work. God, I hate. Okay, hello, romance. Ashley Gold, aka the Aunt of Dragons. Welcome to my YouTube channel, The Breakup Diaries. So we were supposed to go live with a friend of mine earlier this week. Hey, how you doing? Oh, hey, hi. Oh, you're here before I am. Okay. I just, you know what? We're just gonna let this flow, let it go. And I'm wearing my American flag bandana today. Happy early Independence Day, those of you. Will I see fireworks? I don't know, maybe.
Okay, there we go.
Hey,
How you doing?
you, man.
Yep, I hear you pretty good.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Was just down there making my tea and making some content.
Well, I was making breakfast myself, and I was like, oh my gosh, look at the time. So please introduce us. Who are you? What do you do?
Well, I'm Wade Simmons. I'm an independent filmmaker from Chicago, also a funeral service worker going on 16 years. Also trained for professional wrestling for 2 years, so kind of like a jack of some trades, but a master in none of them.
So that is my first question. What got you into wrestling?
I actually wrestled in high school. I wrestled my freshman year. I quit. And senior year, I went back and finished the season. And so, and then too, I was a big fan of WWE when I was a child. So like, growing up watching The Rock and The Undertaker and Kane and MVP and all them different people, just watching guys like that. It was always kind of fun. Like, it's like, it looked like they were having like a lot of fun, but I never really thought that I would actually pursue it. But what ended up happening was, like, right after I graduated film school, I was interested in making a pro wrestling documentary. And so I ended up, reaching out to Steve Boz, who's been in the industry for quite a while, and he offered for me to come to the school where he trained wrestlers. And so I went out there, and instead of me doing the documentary, he offered to train me instead. So what better way to be prepared for a documentary than to actually train for it? So we ended up training for like 2 years, me and my friend Jalen. So yeah, like it was a lot of fun.
So, selfishly, I do MMA. So what would you say is the physical difference between UFC fighting and WWE fighting?
Well, I put it like this. It's entertainment, but I think like, WWE is more, to me, it's more storytelling than anything. It's more predetermined, Now in high school, when I actually did amateur wrestling, that was the real thing. But, I don't want to put it like that because I know sometimes people kind of, in the industry kind of take offense to like, but it's okay because, again, we know that movies are predetermined, but we still watch them. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. But I feel like MMA, that's more like you got to be ready to.
That's very true. Have you seen the film The Wrestler with Mickey Rourke, correct?
I only seen like clips of it. I haven't gotten a chance to watch the whole movie just yet, But I am gonna watch it because I've been hearing a lot of good things about it.
Would you say that your film is similar or massively different from it?
It's massively different because like mine is more like a actual documentary. I know some films are like kind of like more narrative style documentaries, but mine is more of a straight documentary about like the people that I trained with along the way and the people that I met. Because to me, it's like kind of when you're on the independent scene, it's not like mainstream wrestling, like where a lot of the people have more reach. A lot of times on the independent scene, people are more just wrestling locally, and it's crazy because like I had no idea that Chicago was really very big in wrestling like it is. Like I would have never known if I hadn't trained for it. But, come to find out, like there's a lot of wrestlers and stuff like that who actually come to the city and wrestle at local promotions and stuff, as opposed to when you go into like, WWE and, AEW and TNA where they have, these big arenas. A lot of times you can meet some of your favorite wrestlers at local shows, so I think that's one of the pretty cool things,
That's so cool. Oh my God, I freak out. I don't know why my TV just recently started showing me WWE stuff, but I'm loving it. Okay. Speaking of working in a mortuary, tell us about that. How long have you been doing that? What compelled you to stay? Like, how are you not scared to leave?
Well, so it was all, again, I had two childhood ambitions. One was to be a filmmaker and the other one was to be a funeral director. And so when I got to high school, my teacher, Miss Anderson, she ended up calling Spencer Leak Jr., who was the vice president of Leak & Sons Funeral Home. She ended up calling him, and he was kind enough to give me an opportunity as a high schooler to come there and volunteer and work, and it turned into me end up working for them for about 13 years. After I graduated high school, I stayed with them, but I started going to college, and it was like a long journey for me because it kind of took me a while to get through my prereqs to even get to mortuary school. So I've been, doing that for kind of a long time now. I haven't always held a license, but it was something that I was very passionate about and still am. So, I feel like when you love what you do, and you keep doing it, and I think that like working in the funeral business is much like filmmaking, it's storytelling. A lot of people don't think about it, but everybody's life is like a story, it's like a movie, it's a book. It has a beginning, a middle, and an end, so people are characters. And I feel like, the people that we know and family and friends, they're like all supporting, roles. Sometimes we have guest stars in our life when we meet strangers and things like that. So I kind of look at life from that point of view, Yeah.
That was really deep. Wow. Did you practice that?
No, it's just, I think about a lot of stuff every day.
So having worked in the funeral business, do you prefer action film or scary movies?
I'm not really a big fan of horror films, personally, but I like more comedy, I like some dramas too, but honestly, I like more documentaries. Like I'm moving more in the space of like loving documentaries because when I was in film school, I never thought that I would making documentaries because when I was younger, I was like, nobody wants to see no documentary. But as I've gotten older and went to film school, I appreciate them more. And I actually probably enjoy making them more. That's why I'm actually doing the pro wrestling doc because I feel like documentaries help you tell people's stories sometimes that may be overlooked. And even with the people that right? Like when you see people's story and you hear about what they go through, sometimes you don't see the individuals that help these individuals get to where they are. Like I watched a documentary called Rebecca on Netflix about Becky G. And it was really nice to kind of see, her family dynamic, her relationship with her father and things like that. To me, it was a very beautiful documentary. And I like saying things about, people's life because I think that a lot of times people look at people like these big stars and things of that nature, but I look at everybody as human. And so sometimes to me, documentaries kind of bring people back down to earth and, just puts everybody on the even playing field as human. Because all of us have different trials and things we're going through and family issues and relationship issues and the issues of life is just part of being human.
Yeah, that's very true. Okay, so we're not going to talk about films for a second. We're going to talk about you sent me a magazine article the other day. So you work for a magazine?
So yeah, I'm one of the supportive writers. Yeah, how that ended up happening was there's a young lady by the name of Maria. Me and her connected back in 2020 or 2021. And she's always been a very, dear friend and supporter. And, kind of being an independent artist, sometimes you kind of get overlooked a lot. So when you find people who believe in your story, it's kind of nice to, build relationships and not only tell your story, but to help them out as well. And so she's always been so kind to me. And she actually reached out to me because she was telling me that she's doing this magazine now with another young lady. And she's a part of it. And she said, maybe you should consider putting your story in it. And so me, I'm like, well, instead of me telling my story, I like to write. I just would try to put some articles together and see what we come up with. And by the grace of God, they liked it. And so they just, just let me be a part of it. But I love it though, because for many years now, I've been, talking to different writers like Chicago Sun-Times and Tribunes and, some New York Times and different times and everything. And I've been kind of like pitching this kind of idea that like, and I don't mean to be harsh when I say this, but like, there are so many talented people in this world, but we only hear stories when people die or somebody does something bad, and I'm like, why are we just pumping out? Like, don't get it wrong. Like, I understand the news is doing its job, but come on now. Like, it's a lot of underground artists, a lot of people doing great things that maybe could uplift people. It's not about people trying to be seen, but come on, we don't need, even the Wicked Witch and the Wiz said, don't nobody bring me no bad news. You know what I'm saying? Like, everything just doesn't have to be so bad. So I was able to be a part of a magazine that's kind of more inspirational. So I just took it,
That's awesome. That's awesome. I don't know why I wrote this down, but I kept it. I was probably half asleep when I wrote this. Do you want to see Rush Hour 6?
I think that would be pretty good.
Why?
I like Chris Tucker and Jackie Chan together. Like, I think, they're very interested, dynamic, like working together. Like, I enjoyed all the movies, to be honest. Like, I don't really want to see a remake, but I'm okay with them continuing any story as long as it's not a remake.
Why not a remake? Are you not a fan of remakes?
No, because I feel like there's so many other stories that could be told. I just feel like we don't, like, I can see maybe every 100 years or whatever, but like, why not just, let the legacy go on and be something different? Like, I feel like there's so many stories that have yet to been told that could be told. So like, I don't really care for a lot of remakes, to be honest.
Wow.
And then too, it put other artists under too much pressure, because now like you're being compared to, well, the other movie was like this and they did it that way, and they're ruining the classic. So just leave it alone and do something new with it.
Exactly. No, exactly. What's the Starling and who's Becca G?
Oh, so the Starling, that's actually one of my favorite movies. It was with Melissa McCarthy, and it had Loretta Devine in it and some other, quite well-known actors. But I love that movie because it was actually about grief. And, her and her husband ended up losing her child, and, her husband ended up going into rehab, and she was kind of carrying the load on her own. But then this bird kind of comes into her life, which is a starling. And then it brings her to like this, this other gentleman who was like this, I don't know if he was a therapist or doctor, I don't remember, but he was working as a veterinarian. He retired from, working with like mental patients and stuff. And so it's like the bird and the situation kind of brought them together. And so I kind of just liked how that movie dealt with like grief, because I feel like grief is something that, although it's talked about, I think that, people sometimes don't have the patience to really understand it, because, not everybody gets over things the same way. Like, there's just like something can happen to one person and another person is still happy and cheerful, and then something can happen to another person and the person is kind of more depressed and sad, and people like, well, you can't focus on this or that. But everybody is different. And even if you still have joy, when something happens that causes you pain, even if you're a joyous person, you still grieve. You may not grieve the way other people grieve, but, sometimes grief causes us to do things we don't think about. Like, sometimes grief could actually cause some people to even be laughing a lot, or to just try to block things out, or to just always not take things so serious. So, like, a lot of people don't recognize it, but grief affects us all very differently.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Okay. So, speaking of grief, I'm grieving the fall of Hollywood. which we all knew was inevitable, but I never thought it would happen in our lifetime. You know?
I think it's more about design though, but that's a story for another day. Yeah. Well, because I look at it like this, like as an artist, we create for love and passion and we enjoy what we do. But from a business standpoint, with this world that we live in is all about money and power and greed. And so I think that because back in the day, we didn't always have film and television. Like when film and television first came out, we didn't really have a lot of movie stars and all this stuff just yet. But that stuff happened over time. And so now that we're moving into the technological age, it kind of pushes the old system out and then coming in with a new system. So I think that I really think that it's more about design, that's just my own opinion. But yeah, I see exactly what they're doing. I'm not saying I agree with it, but I see what's going on, yeah. I hate it, but it's just one of those things. It is what it is.
So do you think companies such as A24, Tyler Perry Studios, or even PragerU, do you think they could possibly save it?
Maybe. I think that, they're doing the best they can with it. I think really it's kind of up to the people to support it, because what a lot of people don't realize is a lot of times they make things bigger than people, but people are bigger than things. And I say that because if any company doesn't get support from people, you know what I'm saying? Like if people don't buy tickets, if people don't give their attention to certain things, then it doesn't really hold any power. So I think ultimately that decision is kind of like up to the people, I would say,
Okay, I just had an aha moment. Feel free to disagree with me. It's just like if you see your team, your sports team losing, and then you start to bet against them. So they're seeing Hollywood failing, and they're like, "That's fine, because we have something else planned." Oh.
Yeah, look, it's like I said, it's to me a lot of more things in this world is more about design than we think. That's why I always say those type of conversations are like stuff for another day.
That makes sense, though. Okay. Let me focus. What's a good song makes a difference?
So that was a film I did some years ago. That's back when my voice was a little more messed up. But the reason why I made that film, it kind of goes into what we're talking about, right? Is that I noticed a lot of times, some people would always be kind of sad and depressed. And for me, one thing that I noticed was sometimes I would talk to friends or family or different people, and we we talked about grief, we see things a little bit differently. And for me, it's like if I'm in a certain mood, I'm not gonna sit around listening to the blues. I'm not gonna sit around and listen to a sad song and all that stuff. I'm one of the people that I'm gonna find something that's just gonna make me happy. But not everybody is like that. So when I made that film, it was kind of dealing more so with that, about how Wade and his fiance Zori, they are two different people. And so my character was more like this uplifting, happy person or whatever. But his fiance, she was more kind of like when she gets in a mood, she just listens to all that sad music or whatever. So he actually wrote a song that was more inspirational. And so, he kind of using the song to stay in this positive mood. But again, it was dealing in relationship to how people perceive and receive things differently, You
made something recently. I don't remember the name at all, but it was a daughter talking to her mother about beauty and hair.
Oh yeah, that was a part of my web series too. That film I laugh at that film because nothing went how I planned it. But as an artist, I've been doing it long enough to know that with me, I try to find creative moments even when things don't go my way. So I'm a different kind of filmmaker because I know, the Hollywood system is everything got to be like this, it got to be like that. But me, I'm more of a roll with the punches kind of guy. Like you plan something, but things change. So to me, I like to let my creativity just flow. So it did not go as planned, but I like how it came out, But yeah, it was just a visual pull. It was supposed to be about like natural hair, but the actors and stuff, they had a different hairstyle, so we just went with it.
Yeah. So now tell us the name of it.
Yeah, we just went with it. I would say I couldn't hear. I'm sorry.
Tell us the name of it.
Oh yeah, that was Love and Hair. Cause all of the episodes deal something with love. I like love is something that I'm very big about. I wish the world had a lot more of it, and I don't just say that to sound like some happy-go-lucky person, but a lot of problems in this world stems from a lack of love. So as we realize that as people, we can make a much better difference.
Yeah. What? Oh, okay. So, something I've noticed about you is you post videos in black and white, but you're very peaceful when communicating. Why?
I like black and white. It's like because it's something different. It's like my signature. Like I'm glad you caught that. That's very intentional because to me, I know the world is full of color, but I'm the type of person that I like to keep things simple and I think for me I want to have my own signature. So I like the black and white look. It's a little more old school. It's kind of symbolic to me in that sense. Kind of like back in the day when everything was just black and white. Because, I feel like now we in this new technological era and, everything is kind of becoming so manufactured. So I wanted to take it back to the Flintstone days a little bit.
So you use AI in your filmography, present tense, not past tense.
I'm talking about the black and white.
In general, do you use AI in your filmography?
Not at all.
Oh, why?
I just feel like I don't really need to at this point. I understand, I get it. I mean, I do believe that it can be used for some good, but it's I think that all of us have enough creativity where we don't really need to hand over our creativity just too much. I think you can use it for certain things if you want to, but I like to use my own brain. I think I just like using my own senses. I don't know, I'm a little skeptical about AI in a sense. I'm not ashamed to say that, I proudly say that I'm very skeptical of it. Like I said, it can be used for good, but I don't really think that's what it's going to be used for, to be honest with you.
Okay, so where can we like you, follow you, stalk you, all that fun stuff?
Well, so you can find me on Facebook, Wade Simmons. You can find me on Instagram, Wade Jedi99. I am a big Star Wars fan, so yeah, you can, find me there. Feel free to reach out. If I see you doing something great, I may just reach out to you, and it's never to ask nobody for anything, never trying to sell nobody nothing. It's just always genuine love and support, because I do know what it's like being an underground artist, trying to make a difference. To me, I don't really care much about having the biggest platform and nothing like that. It's just about being there for the people who want to be there with you, and you also being there for them. So that's it. That's all.
Yes, exactly. What did you think? Did you see The Mandalorian in Grogu?
I didn't see it yet. I didn't see it just yet. I'm just kind of waiting. I put it like this: I'm not the biggest fan of the newer Star Wars. But I do like the Ahsoka series. I was very impressed with that.
I heard better things about what was the Solo film? I heard good things about that.
Yeah, well, I think for a while Disney was trying to do something different, but I think what they're learning more and more is that nostalgia sells a little bit better.
Yeah.
So, because I know they were trying to move away from the past, but I guess again, they're about money, so they're gonna focus on sales. They ain't worried about that stuff.
Yeah, not again. Okay, and then final question, then I'll let you go. Can a bear be kind?
Yeah, I believe so.
Why?
Well, because I think that animals, like people, have their own personality. Not all of them are even the same. Yes, they have certain characteristics and stuff like that, but, you know, all animals, we stereotype even animals and things of that nature, but all of them are not the same, you know. You may see a bear. I mean, I ain't taking the chance, but it's a possibility that there could be one that could be kind, you know. So I leave room for what I don't know.
Well, thank you so much for chatting with me. Well, I'm sure we'll be talking a lot more soon. Other than that, you have a fantastic 4th of July weekend. Stay cool. Is it hot up there?
It is. It's muggy, but I'm actually gonna be headed